What's happened to Liverpool is football's talking point of the season and biggest mystery. The Canon League and European champions arrived at the City Ground, Nottingham, in the relegation places, knowing they haven't won in the last 7 league matches or managed a goal in the last 4. And this morning's First Division table confirms it. Liverpool in the bottom 3, their worst position for more than 20 years. Hello, good afternoon. Yes, the Big Match Live that provided so much outstanding Sunday afternoon entertainment for you last season is off and running once again. Liverpool are already out on the pitch here at the City Ground. We've had quite a lot of rain in the last few days. It's dry at the moment, and that pitch is undoubtedly going to be very greasy indeed. The match will be kicking off in just a couple of minutes. But what about that Liverpool decline? Really, no one is better qualified to talk about it than the former international star who still lives in the city, Ian St John.
All right, Jim. Well, actually, when I saw the newspapers this morning, I thought the leagues had been printed upside down. It is a problem, obviously, this season, but I don't think it's all about Mark Lawrence. The papers are saying Mark Lawrence in midfield. Mark Lawrence is a world-class player, so there's no problems there at all. There's no problem with Ian Rush. He'll score goals all season. Kenny Dalglish will show brilliance. But there's other areas of the field that they've obviously got their problems. The fullbacks, for instance, haven't been doing the stuff. You've got Ronnie Whelan, who's got vast potential, but hasn't been showing it. He's got to start scoring goals. Little Sammy Lee has come back into the team. He's got to show what he's been shown in the past, consistency. So those are the areas. It's not really about the star players and what they'll do.
Thanks, Ian. Well, a big roar there as Forrest took the field. Jimmy Green's the man of 1,000 caps. What's going to happen this afternoon?
Yes, I thought it was a big roar because Ian started speaking. I don't know, this afternoon. I think Forest will endeavour to do what they normally do, and that's shut it up in the middle of the field and try desperately to get behind Liverpool, because if Liverpool have got an outstanding weakness, Jim, it's probably their 2 fullbacks. So I think they'll use the line as much as they possibly can. As for Liverpool, they only know one way to play, really, and I think they'll play that way, but they'll probably be a bit anxious not to give a goal away to start with.
Good. OK, fellas, we look forward to hearing from you throughout the afternoon. Your commentator throughout the Big Match Live this season is going to be Brian Moore, and he has with him the Manchester United manager, Ron Atkinson. And Brian, I would think Ron still smarting after those 5 goals at Everton yesterday.
What about it, Big Ron?
Well, on the day, a very good side played very well, and a very good side didn't play very well.
I have to tell everybody that when I was testing my microphone a moment or two ago and saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think Ron took that as a personal insult with those 5 Everton goals yesterday. Well, here we are. Now, let's have a look at the 2 teams then today. Nottingham Forest, first of all, with Steve Sutton in goal, and a back 4 that includes the Dutchman Johnny Method now, because injuries to Paul Hart and Mark Smalley means that he moves there from the midfield. And in midfield, there's skipper Ian Bowyer, such a dominant figure, a good leader. It's his 500th league game today. Also Steve Hodge there, transfer speculation about him in the past week, which I'm sure Ron Atkinson will be aware of. What a fine young player he is. And then up front, Peter Davenport, top scorer with 7, and the former Notts County man, Trevor Christie. Liverpool, meanwhile, of course, ever-present, Bruce Grobbelaar in goal. Gary Gillespie now comes into the back 4, his first league appearance, incidentally, since he signed from Coventry in July 1983, although, of course, he played against Benfica on Wednesday in the European Cup. In midfield, then, we now find, as Ian was saying, defender Mark Lawrenson. Craig Johnston there as well, his first league game since he returned from Australia after the birth of his daughter there. Up front, that's a promising combination, Kenny Dalglish and Ian Rush. So Johnny Method moves into the defence for Forest. He's played at the back, of course, with his previous clubs, particularly Real Madrid. 26 years old, no stranger then to a defending position. And I suppose with young Chris Fairclough, he'll be responsible for keeping a check, as they'll need to do on this man. Ian Rush, that cartilage operation kept Ian out of the Liverpool side until the Everton game last Saturday. He didn't score then, but of course that magnificent and magnetic scoring touch returned with the hat-trick against Benfica on Wednesday. Referee today is George Courtney from County Durham. In the centre there. In fact, officiated in Florence in midweek, Fiorentina against Anderlecht. There's Brian Clough. Broke new ground again today, I think, Ron, because I think he was in that bench 5 minutes before his team came out.
Yes, that was a strange thing to do. As you say, fully 5 minutes, Cloughie came out and just plunked himself in the dugout, and the rest of the team must have been stuck in the dressing room still.
Well, it's been, as Jim Rosenthal was saying, a grey and glowering sort of day in the East Midlands. Rain on the pitch, and I would suggest, Ron, that it'll give a bit of zip to it and may well add to the excitement of it all.
Yes, I think so. I'll tell you what I'm very interested to see. As you said, Johnny Method has played many times at the back, but I'm just wondering, he's not the quickest player in the world. He's a good reader and a good skillful player. I'm just wondering how he might just cope with the pace of Rush up there.
Well, certainly it's a vital game for Liverpool. Brian Clough himself has said, though, that whatever you do, don't write Liverpool off. They may be in the bottom three, but he still believes they will be there or thereabouts when the championship's decided at the end of the season. A crucial game for them. And Forest, who've not lost at home. And it's Liverpool attacking the goal to our left in a change strip today of all yellow as Neil plants a long ball forward. Here's Method straight away. Oh, and a back pass. It puts Rush almost in there. And for Dalglish, and well, that was very casual, and a lack of awareness by Method very nearly let Rush in, who might have made a little more of it. Davenport surely offside, indeed he is. That was a remarkable start by Method, Ron.
Yeah, well, I think defenders very often are natural defenders, and he probably hasn't played in the back four for some while, and he's certainly got caught napping there. Very, very slack, very dangerous thing to do.
Here's Guy. Well, if there are any problems being three from the bottom, Ron, Liverpool aren't showing them at the moment. It's early days, but they look comfortable enough.
Yes, I can't for a moment imagine they're a little bit worried about that. They know they're a good side, and they know they've got a lot of good players that eventually are going to produce the goods.
Here's Lee. And now Johnston. And twice denied by Method. Johnston tries again. This time he gets it into Rush. And a goal kick. A good goal-scoring record against Nottingham Forest, because Liverpool did the double on Forest last year, both by 1-0, and both times the goals came from Ian Rush. Gillespie. Rush. Kennedy. It's a fair ball there. Now, Whelan looking for a good cross and getting it towards Dalglish. Swain not really getting any distance on that header, but he was helped out by his captain Bowyer, and again by Bowyer. And Lawrenson getting it to Whelan again, who acrobatically kept that one in play. More than that, finds Kennedy. Back for Ronnie Whelan again. And that's an interesting ball, and a dummy by Craig Johnston. And now for Kenny Dalglish. And somehow they kept it out when Johnston looked on the brink of putting Liverpool into the lead. Ron Atkinson?
Brian, they certainly don't look like the side that are in the bottom three at the moment. They're shoving it around with all their old confidence and poise. I can't help feeling that the Forest front lads, Christie and Davenport, are going to have to do a hell of a lot of work to try and contain the Liverpool back four if they're left up there on their own.
So Lawrenson. Keeping his head. So too did Kennedy. And between them deceiving Davenport and Christie. And leaving a bit of space for Gillespie to find Dalglish. Lee. Lawrenson. Neil. Rush. Just finding Lawrenson. It's an interesting ball again by Lawrenson for Rush. And it might come yet. I thought for a moment it was coming for Dalglish. That was extraordinary. And Kennedy! Well, Lawrenson made quite a contribution there, Ron.
Yes, he started off very, very well. He started off as if he plays midfield all his life. couldn't help thinking before the game, both Jimmy and Ian were on about the weakness of the Liverpool fullbacks. He looked a little bit offside there, actually, Craig Johnson, didn't he?
Well, there's another Liverpool fullback coming in.
That's right, but I always feel if you don't occupy the Liverpool fullbacks, if you don't work at them, they're both good players, they both like plenty of free space, and they both come forward and use the ball very well.
Hansen. Kennedy. Johnston making a very energetic burst through the middle. Method. Hodge. Lawrenson to Craig Johnston. Lawrenson again. Oh, that's an interception by Mills, but Hansen's coming across there. That's a foul, and the referee is reaching for the book. He was always second going to that one, Alan Hansen, and he's got to go back. And the name of the Scottish international will go into the book.
Maybe a bit unfortunate there, you know. On another day, I think he may have got away with that, but there's no question. I think Hansen made sure that if he didn't get the ball, he was definitely going to make sure Mills didn't go past. The lad Mills has got some great pace as well. It would have been a great situation for him.
And I think George Courtney was right, and I think the picture told it all, really, Ron.
It's a free kick to Forest, at any rate, which Bryn Gunn will take. Now Steve Hodge. Christie. Now Mills. Bad cross. Gary Mills, really back in the game now after breaking a leg badly playing in America. Still got a pin in that broken leg, incidentally. It's Whelan in a bit of space. Mills coming across to cover it, but Dalglish being pursued by Method. Now what can he do? Well, he only gives it to Mills. Now Method. Oh, that wasn't a good ball at all. Straight to Phil Neal. Rush trying to get a 1-2 going, but it was Method who restored the situation for Forest for the moment, at any rate. Now Johnston. Neal. Good play. Dalglish trying to hold off Fairclough, and the free kick given for the foul by Fairclough on Dalglish. Chris Fairclough, the 20-year-old, made his first appearance in the league, incidentally, against Liverpool at Anfield 2 years ago. So Liverpool now with Johnston behind it, with Phil Neal behind it, and Sammy Lee behind it.
Kennedy's also gone square, Brown. Whether they touch once for his left foot to have a dip.
It's Neal, and driven wide. Rush. Christie. Fairclough. Oh yeah. Hodge couldn't quite get it going, but they get a free kick for the foul by Gillespie on Christie. Moving now forward with a little more conviction, Ron Atkinson, on Nottingham Forest.
Yes, they've taken a little bit of control of the game. They're getting a lot of joy in behind the right back area.
Well, there's the cross coming in. Christie's header.
I feel from a spectacle point of view, there's been an awful lot of good possession football, but I'd just like to see more things happening in the penalty box. There hasn't, for instance, I don't think either keepers have to really make a save, have they yet?
Not yet. Dalglish going in there. And it's Whelan who's made a good break. And a goal! Ronnie Whelan for Liverpool. What a great break by Ronnie Whelan.
Some lovely football there, Brian. I don't think for a minute that Brian Clough will be very happy about his fullback's position here. Ronnie Whelan's just checked out of his run, left himself with a lot of space there, and yet he's the only Liverpool player in the box, and there's probably 3 red shirts in there.
Good work by Dalglish, and a peach of a cross. Good run from midfield by Ronnie Whelan, and a well-placed header wide of Stevenson. Well, that was Ronnie's 3rd goal of the season. I think there had been a feeling amongst 1 or 2 of the critics that he's a bit of a shrinking violet, that he hasn't quite performed in midfield this season as Liverpool know he can.
Yes, I've heard that level against him, but that is one of his assets, the ability to get into the box when the ball's on the other side. In fact, he did it against us earlier this season, and really was responsible for Liverpool's equaliser.
And the boy from Dublin has put Liverpool into the lead. Dalglish, made of course by Kenny Dalglish, and now Craig Johnston. Here's Phil Neal. And in fairness, Liverpool have played well enough to be deserving that lead this afternoon. Lee, cross towards Rush this time, Fairclough winning it in the air. Whelan's touch, it'll come for Lawrenson. Thought just for a moment about a shot. Kennedy, in fact, with a header to Dalglish. Now Mills. Christie off in chase. Probala not for the first time this season outside his box. It wouldn't run for him, and the pass is a perfect one to Whelan. Lee. Changing the point of everything beautifully there. Turn, and he finds Phil Neal, gets it back. Oh, what a good ball, what a good run by Phil Neal. And a good cross too towards Rush. Good save, good double save in point of fact by Sutton. Well, a great run by Phil Neal, and some fine work by Sutton coming up. From Rush's header, saves it there. Lawrenson. Johnston. I think goes a long way from Craig Johnston. It's tough for Craig Johnston after he's been in Australia while his wife's had a little daughter, Chelsea, who in fact is due with his wife to arrive back here in Britain next Sunday. He's looking forward to that. But it's hard for him now to get to the pace of this game, I would think, Ron.
Well, I would have thought so, but he set off like a train. He was making runs from the midfield beyond the full-backs. He steadied up a little bit, but I think he's settling into the pattern now. I think Liverpool are trying to establish a pattern on the game of just moving the ball around and making Forest get frustrated. In a way, they've sort of turned the tables around on Forest a little bit.
Linesman flagging for the foul by Hansen on Davenport, and as we come right to the last seconds of the first half, it might be just the opportunity for Nottingham Forest to put a bit of pressure on this Liverpool defence. Gary Mills with the free kick, short to Gunn. And again, Liverpool equal to it. Real concentrated effort there between Hansen and Johnston as the half-time whistle goes, and the rehabilitation of Liverpool, if indeed it needed to happen, is on its way with an excellent first half performance and the goal by Ronnie Whelan that gives them the interval lead. Welcome back to the City Ground in Nottingham. There's one statistic for you. Ronnie Whelan's goal, giving Liverpool the half-time lead 1-0. Let me give you another one now. The crowd here today is 19,838, and it's Nottingham Forest's biggest crowd of the season. The previous biggest, 18,605. That was against Luton, also on a Sunday, incidentally, and that's 3,000 more than their average for the season. Now, there are some who will say, well, when Liverpool came last year, they pulled in a crowd of 29,000, but that was on New Year's Eve, a holiday. Traditionally always a day when you get bigger crowds. So I would have thought, well, Forrest was saying before the start, if we get somewhere near 20,000, we'll be delighted. Well, we heard Ron Atkinson, we heard Jimmy Greaves and Ian St John talking about what Forest have to do in this second half, attack Liverpool with much more conviction. It's something you would agree with, I would think. Is this the way Forest play when you come here, United?
I'd like to think it would be, but they tend to get forward better. The midfield players tend to attack more. Today, I think they've given Liverpool too much respect. To be fair, Liverpool have also earned that because the Liverpool midfield players have played some delightful 1- and 2-touch stuff and hardly allowed them to get near to the ball.
Well, away we go, the second half. Remember, Liverpool leading 1-0, Nottingham Forest in the red shirts attacking the goal to our left. Davenport. Shall we see a greater degree of urgency in this Forest play in the second half? Certainly showing far too much respect even for an excellent Liverpool performance. Medford. Gillespie away and again. Lawrenson. Forward by Swain and Phil Neal getting it away. Now, Walsh wanting it quickly, as though they're trying to inject a little more urgency into their play. Swain, Walsh. Oh, through the legs of Phil Neal. And an interesting cross there, and Quabblar down. A deflection that meant that he had to make a quick readjustment. And again, an excellent throw out, this time to Sammy Lee. Kennedy. Oh, some space there for Dalglish for just a moment, but Fairclough. Now Lawrenson. It's Craig Johnston. Dalglish again, another delightful little touch. And a shot with a lot of power to it. With a great economy in terms of backlift, but it was away off the target. Goal kick. Mills and Christie and Bowyer are in there. Hodge. And Lee. There's Medford. Kennedy, a long ball forward. Rush will seek to get there and succeeds in doing so, but in the end couldn't get a powerful enough shot in to worry Sutton. But his pace had the beating of Medford.
Yes, I think Medford had sort of 50 or 60 yards to adjust on that, on the long ball through. Didn't. And, of course, once he gets behind him, there's no real pace to compensate for that.
Goal kick. Do you detect anything different about Forest's approach in the second half, Ron Atkinson?
Not really. I just wonder that they've had a little bit more time in the Liverpool half than probably they did before half-time. But I just wonder how much of that is Liverpool just bedding down again. Probably Liverpool won't take any chances early on. They'll stay bedded down and try and frustrate Forest.
There's Fairclough. And there's Gillespie. Gunn with a header. Gary Mills. Hodge. Christie. Didn't quite fall for Bowyer. It's fallen for Liverpool again. Here's Johnston. Swain seeking to keep up with him. But it's Liverpool's throw. Sammy Lee. And now Neal. Oh, what a good ball there for Dalglish. And crossed in. And another one. And it's Rush. Well, Dalglish made the first one for Whelan. And Kenny Dalglish had a big part to play once again in number 2 for Liverpool. Scored by Ian Rush.
That really is class football, isn't it? Phil Neal did very, very well there, taking people on and then reversing the pass here.
I think possibly it came off Bryn Gunn eventually, but it clearly goes down as a goal for Ian Rush.
He's in there like lightning. You wouldn't think he'd been out the game for a few months, would you?
Well, 3 goals against Benfica on Wednesday night, and that same magnetic touch is there again. It's amazing how many goals he gets in that 6-yard area. Another of Mr. Clough's favourite sayings is, it only takes a second to score a goal. And Forest need that second to come fairly rapidly to get themselves back in the game. Lee. Johnston. Hodge battling away there. Walsh. Good challenge there by Lawrenson. Oh, a lovely little dummy there by Dalglish. It fooled Method, and now Craig Johnston.
At the moment, Brian, there's not even a suggestion they're going to get back in, is there? It looks probably at the moment as if Liverpool are going to increase their lead.
Well, somebody would have to go another 3 or 4 feet to get to that one, I think.
And he threw the ball away, and George Courtney just ran up behind him and said, watch it. Here's Hodge. What a difference he's made. And that's a ball that finds Whelan, who's got Dalglish away on the right, and a lovely ball for Dalglish. Rush, of course, is waiting in the middle. Whelan has continued his run up as well. Here's Craig Johnston, and here's Phil Neal coming in. But it's Whelan. Here's Lawrenson. There seem to be so many yellow shirts available at the moment, and they are getting through one challenge after another. Lawrenson with the cross just a little too high for Rush. Rush again. And the Forest fans are almost silent at the moment. And little wonder. Method. Walsh. Method. And here come Forest. And that's a good ball. Davenport's onside. Robillard, who was a long way out, has gone sprinting back. Christie waiting in the middle. Davenport with the cross to the far side towards Gary Mills. Bowyer trying to back it up. And his cross comes in, and Davenport's header's too high.
Good chance, that, Brian. Malad will probably feel he should have done better with that. But I think we saw, once again, we saw the two faces of Medhard just a little bit earlier to start the move going.
And where you were saying a moment ago, you couldn't see how they could get back into it. Remembering again their manager's words, it only takes a second to score a goal, and they might just have had one then. 18 minutes of the second half gone, Liverpool leading by 2 goals to 0. Obstruction by Phil Neal. Walsh with it. Metford's come up for the first time for this sort of situation. Christie in there too. And booyah! And somehow Robillard kept it out, helped by a clearance from Ronnie Whelan. The first sign of bad marking by Liverpool in defence, and it very nearly cost them a goal by Bowyer. Well, over the last 2 or 3 minutes, Forest have manufactured 2 very worthy chances. But it still remains at 2-0, but Forest get a corner.
That's right. I mean, that last chance can only be lack of concentration on Liverpool's part of view. How he managed to find himself in so much free space, it should be beyond any top-class defender, that.
Bowyer nearly pulling Forest back into the game. Here's Swain, a bit of pressure on Liverpool at the moment. Swain getting a good cross in, and Fairclough was right in there, but it was, I think, the fists of Robillard that got that clearance in. Medhod under more pressure now than at any time in the game at Liverpool. Here's Davenport. Touched again for Hodge, driven there, and down he goes. It's done. Oh, a brilliant piece of keeping. What a magnificent piece of keeping by Grobbelaar. That looked an absolute certain Nottingham Forest goal.
Well, that was incredible. If you look as well, you see Fairclough is also in the box. And I suppose he thought he was just going to get a tap in if Davenport had managed to square the ball across.
He let it go and then grabbed it. What a marvellous picture and a superb piece of keeping by Bruce Grobbelaar. Kennedy. Hansen. Dalglish. So at the moment you wouldn't write Nottingham Forest off by any manner of means, with still nearly 25 minutes to go. Foul by Gillespie. More pressure on Liverpool. Free kick to Forest. Here's Hodge. Mills. Cross to Christie, chested down there. Oh, tremendous shot by Hodge. And Grobbelaar brilliantly behind it. What power in that one.
It's incredible. Since I made that statement about I couldn't see any way back for them, they seem as if that's got them at it. From that moment in time, it's been all Forest. That's a tremendous effort from young Hodge.
Whelan up well. Nice little cushion header by Fairclough to Bowyer, to Method. Mills just nodding it on for Christie. Playing it in once more. Gillespie getting in the way. The pace of the game has increased quite remarkably now. Whelan belting it away. And Forest get another throw. And they want to take it quickly. And the crowd are now behind them. It's never the most demonstrative of crowds, this Forest crowd, but they sense that it may not all be lost. Davenport with the shot that curled away beyond the far post. Ron?
I think you've hit the nail on the head when you say that the tempo of the game's increased. Forest are sprinting forward quicker, they're getting into shooting, scoring positions. They've lifted the crowd, and all of a sudden they've given themselves some sort of a chance.
The pace has certainly increased in this last quarter of an hour or so. Another free kick to Nottingham Forest. It's a real test of Liverpool's improved form now. A little slow getting that one away. Davenport, will he punish them for it? No, because Phil Neal is there. Corner given. Gary Mills will take it. Fairclough is coming up from the back. Medford has decided to stay back.
I bet they wish they got Paul Hart here at the moment. He'd be invaluable in these sort of situations.
Yes, Paul Hart out with a back injury. Kicked on and it might go in. Goodness, Liverpool living dangerously again there. And they couldn't begin to tell you how they kept that out. But look at the space for Hansen on the far side. Talk about turning defence into attack. Oh, and then Kennedy muffed his shots, and there was no trouble at all for Steve Sutton. Medford. Mills. Foul in the back of Davenport by Hansen. And the referee having no cheek from Hansen. Get away. Foul on the number 10, Peter Davenport. Gunn playing it in there. Bowyer with the shot. Fell quite conveniently onto his left foot as well.
Yes, he scored plenty from there. And once again, just a little bit of relaxed play in the centre of the Liverpool defence. They had things easy for an hour sort of thing, and now they're having to earn the keep. And I just wonder whether they're mentally attuned to it.
was saying at the start of the match, Ron, that Brian Clough was saying that don't write off Liverpool when it comes to championship honours. They're going to be there or thereabouts at the end, even though they're 3 off the bottom starting today. Is that, having seen them today, is that a view that you would share now?
Yes, I don't think anyone in the right mind would have written Liverpool off. They've still got an awful lot to do now to catch.
Is Grobbelaar out? Well, can Ross play it in? Grobbelaar's back.
And Dalglish. And now Swain. Come back to that in a moment, Ron, I think.
Because now Christie, he's onside. The chances are still coming, and either Grobbelaar or the inadequacies of the front men for Nottingham Forest are denying him that all-important first goal. Must have been touch and go, whether he was offside there, but the linesman kept his flag down. Christie couldn't make anything of it.
I must confess on that particular occasion I thought Christie was offside, but Liverpool have gone very, very slack at the back, surprisingly, really.
Here's Mills now.
And offside this time. Grobbelaar's there. Christie couldn't finish it off. The flag was up. Shake of the hands between the goalkeeper and the striker. And a free kick to Liverpool.
Bowyer. Fairclough. Gunn. Christie. Free kick. Well, Forest's biggest crowd of the season. There's something pretty dramatic's got to happen in this last couple of minutes or so, but Grobbelaar getting down well. Once more to save from Stephen Hodge. We're playing 90 minutes plus now. And if the Liverpool fans begin to shout, Liverpool are back, you can understand it. Coming here under pressure, third from the bottom of the first division, having bossed the first half completely, scored an opening goal by Ronnie Whelan after 36 minutes, and then added to that in the second half with one, inevitably it seems, by Ian Rush, and then with some excellent work by Bruce Grobbelaar in goal, holding off a great fight back by Nottingham Forest.